Not that I can do it. Another question. Yes.
What is the most effective way of building people up and encouraging them?
Right. What's the most effective way of building people up? Well, the most ineffective way is to be dishonest to them. The con type of person is a leader who makes out that someone's capable at something when they're not. You have to be completely honest. Now, that doesn't mean you're ever cruel, or if someone's bloody hopeless at something. I told you how happy I was when my teacher said I couldn't play the saxophone. Now, I'm sure he knew that from about the first week. It took him 8 months for him to be game enough to say, Dick, you're hopeless at that. And he didn't say to me, he should have said, I'm sure you're good at something. He didn't say that, so I thought I was hopeless at everything. But the main thing is to be dead honest. And if someone is doing something well, you say it's being done well. If they're not doing it well, you've got to sometimes say, look, I don't think you're suited to this. And that's been one of the hardest things in my business career. I've had to very rarely sack anybody, but someone's applied for a job in a particular field and they've worked in that job and they're not suited to it. And so I've had to say to them, this is not working and you're not going to succeed at this job. I suggest you do something else. We'll see if we've got a job like that in the business, or I suggest you look for a job in that particular field. So that's very important that you're honest. Some people, I don't think it's being kind by being dishonest to someone. It really isn't. But there's certain ways of saying, and that's what I would say to the person is, look, this is not, I don't think this is suited to you. I think you should be doing something different. So make sure you always do that. Because, by the way, I mentioned this honesty when I was talking to the whole school, and it's incredibly important because someone will detect if you're dishonest. They'll hear you praising someone when they've thought, that person's no good at that, they shouldn't be praised. And then they start thinking, oh, that maybe when he or she is praising me, they're not telling the truth. And so be very, very careful. I was lucky that my parents were dead honest, and so they never had much money or anything like that, but Dad and Mum were just honest, and I'm sure your parents are like that, and so that was a good example. And I think that's a very important success force. It's interesting, I've watched, because I'm 72 years of age, and I've watched some of these so-called criminal families, and none of them have done any good. You know, if you thought, maybe if you're in the Philippines or some countries where there's a lot of corruption, you might do well, but I often think if they're that bright to do it dishonestly, they'd do well to be honest and be able to be open and be appreciated by their families and their kids and things like that.